Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Bolter with Val-Chris Investments, and I'm joined by my partner associate, Jeff Lamott. We're here to share with you very briefly a little bit more information about our private money lending product and how it would be a benefit to you, and also to introduce two new states that we've added to our list of states that we're lending in, and that would be the states of Georgia and Tennessee. So I thought we'd start out with a very brief description in case you haven't attended one of our seminars in the past, to tell you a little bit more about Val-Chris Investments, our lending products, how it works, and then Jeff will take over and introduce the nuances of Georgia and Tennessee with a little bit more information. While we're going through the seminar, if you have any questions, please go ahead and click on the question icon and text it on over. If we have any questions, we'll answer the questions at the end of this very brief seminar. Also, if you'd like us to send you a copy of this seminar, just email myself or Jeff and let us know at the end, and we can send you a copy of this videoed seminar for your own records and possibly to share with your associates. So without any further ado, we'll just jump right in. I'll tell you a little bit about Val-Chris Investments and our programs. Val-Chris Investments, we were founded in 1975. We've always been a hard money, oftentimes called hard money. We like to call ourselves a private money lender. We don't do any other types of loans besides equity-based loans. So we're not your competitor. We're a product to add to your repertoire of products. And this is all we've been doing for the last 51 years. Very briefly, we use our own money to fund loans, which separates us from many of our competitors because we can fund loans without worrying about an investor commitment in most cases. Underwriting is done right here in-house. Underwriting is typically done by myself or Jeff. So whether you're working with Jeff or myself, you'll have one underwriter who will price your loans. You won't have a committee. You'll know that once you have that pricing, it's something that you can rely upon, and you won't have to worry about changing down the roads unless something changes as far as the appraised value or something that wasn't disclosed up front factors into a change in the actual terms of the loan. Okay, let's go to our next page here. The majority of the key with all of our loans is the loans need to be primarily for a business or investment purpose. And the way we typically define that is that take whatever the loan amount is, we need to see that 51% or more of that loan amount is being used for a business or investment purpose. So to keep the example simple, if the loan amount is $100,000, we need to see that at least $51,000 of that loan amount is being used for a business or investment purpose. We don't do just first trust deeds or first mortgages. We do second trust deeds, third trust deeds, and even an occasional fourth trust deed. You'll find later in the presentation, we have a little reference sheet for you that shows which states we can originate junior liens, because we can't do that in every state, but we can do that in a fairly large number of states. And that reference sheet will be a great tool for you in determining which loans we do first and seconds and other types of loan products. Next, we do owner-occupied refinances. There are a lot of people in private money who will not lend on owner-occupied properties, but we will. Again, as long as the loan is being used primarily for a business purpose. So the most simple example is a man or woman who owns their home and happens to have a business and needs to pull out cash for a business purpose, possibly to buy more inventory, to cover payroll, to expand their footprint. Those are all acceptable reasons that we would make a loan on an owner-occupied property. Purchases are a little bit more tricky because all of our loans need to be for a business or investment purpose. So the only way we can do a purchase when it's going to be owner occupied is if it's being purchased in the name of an existing LLC or corporation. It has to be existing. It can't be something that we transfer the property into after we've already talked about the loan. So if they have an existing LLC or corporation and want to buy a property and they intend to occupy it as their primary residence, that would be acceptable because those entities are not consumers. We don't consider that a consumer purpose loan. One of the other benefits of Val-Chris Investments and private money lending is all of our loans are stated income, stated assets. So we never require W-2s, bank statements, or tax returns. We also don't require verification of deposits, pardon me, not deposits, reserves. So when you've got a case where somebody's buying a property per se, and your subprime or your other lenders out there, your non-QMs might require reserves, that's not a requirement with us. None of our loans are FICO driven, so we don't have a FICO minimum. Many of our borrowers don't even have FICO scores because we do make loans to um, non-residents, and many of them don't have credit scores. What I will say briefly is that somebody with good credit scores will typically just get a better rate. Lastly, on this page, we can also help you on short sales and REO transactions that are typically very time sensitive. We typically close our loans in 5 to 10 business days if you're organized and can get us our submission package promptly. Okay, I'm gonna hand this over to Jeff, giving you kind of a background, and he's gonna go through the nuances of Georgia and Tennessee.
All right. Hi, everyone. As Chris mentioned, we're excited to open up in two more states. I will go over Georgia first. The reason we chose Georgia and Tennessee is they're both pretty lender broker friendly. So one of the benefits of this state, of both of these states, are that we can close quickly, do our business purpose loans, and you don't even need to be licensed in either of these states in order to send us deals. So in each of these states, and specifically in Georgia, we can do business and investment purpose loans, loans to LLCs and corporations. We can do owner and non-owner occupied loans. And we can also do first and junior liens. We can do residential and some commercial deals over there. And then we can go up to 60% of the purchase or 55% on a refinance. As it says here, 60% may be considered. So if you have a situation that you think might warrant that, just go ahead and reach out and we can look at it on a case by case basis. As far as FICOs, we're asset based. So FICOs do matter when it comes to the rate. But at the end of the day, regardless of the FICO that your borrower has, send it in and we can take a look at it. As far as loan sizes, similar to California, we'll look at anything from 50,000 up to $4 million. One thing to think about in Georgia that's a little more unique from other states is that when you're lending on a 1 to 4 residential property, the property must be owned in an entity. So it cannot be owned by an individual person when we're doing the loan itself. It cannot transfer into it, similar to how Chris was saying with the purchase transactions. It must be owned in the property at the time of origination when you bring us the deal. When it comes to properties owned under an LLC entity, though, you can do owner occupied as well, even though it's in the entity. Commercial properties, we can have all different borrower types, personal and entities itself. So that's kind of a
Hey,
good
Jeff.
little summary on Georgia.
Jeff, real briefly there. We also said we can do them in trusts. Is that a typical living trust, or are there other
I believe
restrictions?
that's an irrevocable trust.
Okay, so on the trust issue, it's not your typical not your typical revocable trust, which is most common. It has to be irrevocable.
Yeah, it must be treated as an entity, so it's got to be an irrevocable.
Okay.
Interest rates over there, so with most of our out-of-state loans, we start typically around 9.99%. Our loans are always going to be interest only. Our fees, again, depending on the deal, will be anywhere from 1.5 to 3%. All loans are stated income, stated asset. As always, we don't require tax returns, bank statements, or anything like that. Most terms are going to be 1 to 5 years. We usually see them in the 2 to 3 year range is what's most common. If they need something longer, it's really a case by case situation. So again, just reach out, tell us what the borrower is looking for, and we'll try and find something that works for them. Same with the prepay penalty. Our standard prepay penalty is 6 months. If they need something shorter, we can discuss it. Excuse me. We can discuss it and look at it on a case by case as well. And then when it comes to appraisals, we usually require appraisals on most of our out-of-state loans. It's rare that we'll do a BPO, but that's not unheard of. So if you have a situation that you think warrants it, again, it's just more of a discussion. One of the benefits of us is of Val-Chris Investments is we're not a box type lender. Everything we do is out of the box thinking. We can cross properties, we can look at different situations, we can look at ways to make it work for your client, and that's one of the benefits of using us as a lender. Tennessee. Tennessee is very similar to Georgia, except that you don't have the same requirements when it comes to an entity owner of the property when it's a 1 to 4 residential property. So very similar in a sense that same type of business purpose loans. We do owner and non-owner occupied lending, first and junior liens, 1 to 4 residential and commercial, 60 to 55 or 55 to 60% loan to value, depending on the deal itself. All FICO types, same loan range, 50,000 to 4 million. But again, we can lend all different types of owners of properties, whether it's natural person, trusts, LLCs, corporations, things like that. And again, same as Georgia when it comes to these as well. Rates start at 9.99%, typically 1.5 to 3%, all different loan types, 1 to 5 years, 6 month prepay penalty, and we can use a BPO in certain cases. And what to expect after submission and how you get paid. So the submission itself can be, um, it depends on how you submit it. If you submit a pretty complete package, is kind of what I'll use as an example here. Um, so when it comes to how you get paid, all of our fees are disclosed on the closing statement. So anything that you're getting paid or we're getting paid will be disclosed as a separate line item at the doc signing. That way, escrow pays you directly, and you're not worried about what you're getting paid at the close. Your fees are listed on the docs and will be paid by VCI or through escrow. You never have to guess what you're making on a deal. We typically charge 1 to 3 points, and you can charge up to what we're charging on each deal. After you submit a loan, you can typically expect it to close within about 10 business days. As a broker, you'll be the one discussing between your client and us. So the client remains yours. You still keep that connection. You still keep that communication throughout the process, and you collect the paperwork as needed and then provide it to us for review. We protect our brokers. Once you submit a deal, that borrower can't come back to us directly and try and go around you. So that way you have the peace of mind that if you bring us a deal to price, if they somehow figure out who we are and they come back to us directly, we're going to tell them to go back to you. We have honest and competitive pricing. So tell us if you're getting better pricing elsewhere, and we'll see what we can do to match that. If we can't, we'll be upfront and tell you. If we can, then we'll try and beat it and get it done for you. And lastly, years of experience. We've been open since 1975. Between Chris and myself, we've been doing this for a very long time. We can usually look at deals quickly and give you a pretty quick response. A majority of our deals come from referrals, and so our name's been out there for a while, and we think we do a pretty good job at it. So I think you should give us a call and see what we can do for you. As far as as far as all the states we're in now, we're in 11 states total. You can see them listed here. This reference guide can be provided by one of us at any time, so feel free to email us. We can send it to you. It's a good little quick list on knowing where we lend, what we can do in each state, and that way you can make a quick decision when you think whether or not you should send us a deal to price. And that is it. So if anyone has any Q&A, feel free to put it down in the section. Otherwise, Chris and I are always available for a phone call or email. Please reach out, ask us anything you would like about any new scenarios or current deals you're working on, and we'll be more than happy to take a look at them.
And we have taped this session. If you'd like a copy of it, just by emailing myself or Jeff, we'll have it forwarded to you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Have a great day. Go close some loans. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.